Manchester City have opened talks with Aston Villa over the potential signing of Jack Grealish, who is valued at around £100 million. We're going to speak to former Aston Villa midfielder Hendrie in just a moment. But first, let's head to our reporter Rob Dorsett for the latest on this one. In fact, we've got both of them here. Hi, Lee. Hi, Rob. Nice to see both of you. Rob, we'll speak to you first. Good afternoon, mate. We'll speak to you first. Look, Rob, what's the very latest? What are you hearing?
Well, look, the sensitive negotiations between Manchester City and Aston Villa are ongoing this lunchtime. We told you on Sky Sports News last night that Manchester City first approached Villa a couple of days ago, and that whilst they haven't made a formal bid for Aston Villa's captain yet, that could well follow pretty quickly. And the truth of the matter is, from an Aston Villa perspective, they don't want to sell Jack Grealish. They categorically do not want to sell him. Nassif Sawiris and Wes Edens are very rich. They own Aston Villa Football Club, and they have huge ambitions for the football club. They want to get them into the Champions League. And the plan, with Dean Smith at the helm, has always been, and Johan Lang, by the way, their sporting director, has always been to build a squad capable of that. And having Jack Grealish in your squad helps in attract other quality players. So they don't want to lose him for a variety of reasons. Aston Villa is simply not as strong without Jack Grealish, the unique player that he is. And to that end, they've offered him another new contract. Bear in mind, he only signed a bumper new contract in September, so 10 months ago, and there's already a new contract offer on the table. And so I think what this comes down to is how much are Manchester City prepared to spend. Normally in a transfer saga, we talk about negotiations between the two clubs. I don't think that's what's happening here. I think Aston Villa have a price, a very specific price, at which they will do business for Jack Grealish, and Manchester City will either meet that price or they won't. If they meet it, he will become a Manchester City player pretty quickly, I would have thought. If they don't meet it, he will remain at Aston Villa and probably sign another new contract. In terms of where he is, well, he's still on holiday at the moment, Jack Grealish, out of the country, after that extended break he had following his contribution with England at the Euros. He's due to be back at Aston Villa's training ground on Monday for pre-season training. Will he be there? Will he be a Manchester City player by then? Those are, of course, the questions that everybody's asking. But a penny for Jack Grealish's thoughts right now. I wonder what he's thinking.
Yeah, and a penny for Hendrie's thoughts as well. And Lee, listen, I'm going to apologise before I ask you this question. I'm sorry, and you can ring me up later and have a go, but I'm going to put you on the spot here, right? You're an Aston Villa former star. You love the club. You love Jack Grealish. I know that. Manchester City showing interest. From a player's point of view and from Grealish's point of view, is this the right time for him to move if he wants to take his career to the next level, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them questions, isn't it, Lee, where you look at what Jack Grealish is and how special of a player he really is. And this is where it just hangs in the balance. It's like, do you want to go win trophies? I've got no doubt, and Rob touched on that, you know, the club has got ambition to go forward. They want to bring in high-profile players. And at this moment in time, I think they're still 2 or 3 years away from doing that. So I've got to say, it's in a predicament where I think Jack is playing well for his club, his country. I think this possibly is a time that he has to move on. I don't want him to go. And I'm with every single Villa fan out there. I've been on Twitter and they're telling me to get that message across. Jack, we would love you to stay, but you know what? Let's not turn our back on what fabulous player this boy is and what he's done for the club so far. You know, if he does choose to go, let's obviously give our heart to him, because his heart is always going to be at this football club, and there's no doubt about that, whether he chooses to go or stay.
Really good point, Lee. You know, I've done the same thing. I've been looking at tweets and so on from Villa fans, and although they're desperate for him to stay at the club, there is that underlying feeling that, you know, if he were to leave for a huge fee and go to a club like Manchester City, that a lot of Villa fans would you know, almost give him their blessing. You get that feeling reading the majority of tweets online right now. And make no mistake, I guess, Lee, it's going to be really tough for Jack Grealish to leave Villa Park. Like you say, his heart's there, and everything will have to be right for him to go, won't it?
Yeah, it will. And, you know, knowing his family, I think, you know, they're all big Villa fans. There's no doubt about this at all. I think, you know, when you've got Man City calling, I think you've got Jack, who can, well, certainly play in the Champions League. He's proved how good he is on the international front. Listen, Jack Grealish is amongst the elite top players at this moment in time. That's why Manchester City are coming calling, Premier League winners. This is where you've got to make, this isn't about money. This is about what you want to do is an ambition. I'm pretty sure, again, Villa are certainly going in the right tracks, but you know, you want to be winning medals. It's not about taking hundreds of £1,000s home. He's enjoying his football. And I must say that I think my heart's with Jack to stay at the club, but I think it's time that he possibly does have to move on because, you know, Harry Kane had this link with Manchester City. He will be a legend no matter whatever he chooses. And I think I'm pretty sure the Villa fans will certainly have his heart and his best interest, and hopefully he goes and has a fabulous career, whether he chooses to stay at Villa, which I do hope. But I think Man City is certainly, he's been on the cards for quite some time.
And Rob, I will come to you now, mate, and say, look, how big a hole would Grealish leave at Villa Park if he were to move to City?
He'd leave a huge hole. And look, I'm still reeling, Pete, from what Lee Hendrie said to us just before the break there, that he thinks Jack Grealish should leave. If he was a player in Jack Grealish's position, he'd leave. He's going to get absolute dog's abuse from Aston Villa fans for saying that, because, look, this guy is integral to what Aston Villa has been in getting back into the Premier League and progressing in the Premier League, and he's absolutely integral to what Dean Smith and the owners, Nassif Sawiris and Wes Edens, want to do in taking the club forward. They want to build a team around him because he is that unique talent. And you look at the way Aston Villa play, and they look for Jack Grealish all the time. When Aston Villa are a goal down, it's Jack Grealish who drives the team on. When they need a goal, it's get the ball to Jack Grealish and he'll create something. He'll win a free kick on the edge of the box. So it will leave a huge hole in that Aston Villa squad if he were to go. And look, I fully expect that if Manchester City want Jack Grealish, it's going to cost them £100 million, and that would be a new record, the biggest fee ever paid for a player in English football, eclipsing the £89 million paid for Paul Pogba. And that's a huge amount of money, but Nassif Sawiris and Wes Edens are very rich men. Do they need the money? They're putting money into Aston Villa. And so having that cash available isn't that big a boost for them. I think what it would do is put a lot of any concerns that Aston Villa's authorities might have in terms of financial fair play and the profit and sustainability rules within the Premier League. It would give them more flexibility there and the chance to bring more players in. They've already brought in Emma Buendia from Norwich already, and they're linked with Leon Bailey, the Bayer Leverkusen winger. But I think most Aston Villa fans would tell you if they had Leon Bailey and they had Emmy Buendia, the two of them together still don't make up for the hole that would be left by Jack Grealish. So they would have to change the way they play, they'd have to change their tactics, and they'd probably have to try and change their ambitions in the very short term. In the longer term, of course, they could recover and go in a different direction. But I think the crucial factor here is if Manchester City reach the valuation that Aston Villa have put on Jack Grealish, and we expect that to be around £100 million, does Jack Grealish himself want to go? And the indications I'm getting are that yes, he may well want to do that, in which case I don't think Aston Villa can stand in his way. And so that's what I think the sensitive negotiations are surrounded on right now. But I wanted to ask Lee Hendrie about it. I mean, we heard just before the break, didn't we, him saying that he thinks maybe it is time for Jack Grealish to move on. Lee, do you think the Villa fans would forgive Jack Grealish, though? He's been with the club since he was a kid. He's been with them since he was in the academy. I mean, he's an absolute legend. You spent 13 years at that football club. You know what it's like to be loved by Aston Villa fans. Has he done so much already that they would forgive him this personal ambition if it meant he left Villa Park? Yeah,
I think he has. I think, you know, since he was given the captaincy at the club, which I thought was a masterstroke under Dean Smith, you know, he has done so much at that football club that I don't feel that anyone could begrudge Jack Grealish if he does happen to take that move. And the reason why I'm saying that, I'm looking at his age, 25 years of age. Listen, Aston Villa is a massive football club. There's no doubt about it. The fan base is absolutely immense, but it's all about trophies these days. And it's not about the money situation. I've got to reiterate that, is that if you want to win Champions League, you want to win Premier Leagues, unfortunately, Villa aren't well equipped to do that. And I'm with you. Take him out of that equation of Aston Villa. You've got to replace him. He's irreplaceable. And that's the thing. They've got to replace him with something along that caliber. I looked at Jesse Lingard, if if Grealish was to leave, because he's someone who's proved that he can go into a football club and make a big impact. But again, like you said, I'd love Jack to stay. I'd love Villa to rebuild that structure around him. And if they did that, they would attract more players. And unfortunately, I think it's at this situation where it all lies down on Jack.
Okay, well, look, I'm going to jump in here. And I am going to say as well that I think that a lot of the Aston Villa fans, I'm going to disagree with you, Rob Dorsett. I think a lot of the Aston Villa fans actually are agreeing with Lee Hendrie that maybe it is the right time for Jack Grealish, although, of course, it will be heartbreaking for them. I'm going to ask you both one question simply. I'll start with you, Rob, because I think I've given you an easier ride today. Will Jack Grealish move to Manchester City? And it's one word, yes or no?
I'm going to do 3 words. If Manchester City... No, it's more than 3 words. If Manchester City pay £100 million, yes, I think he'll go.
Lee?
£100 million, I think we'll see Jack in a Manchester City team. Unfortunately. Please stay, Jack.
Great to speak to both of you, lads. Thanks so much for joining us on Sky Sports News. It's a fascinating transfer story.